And welcome back to another video. We are going to be doing a studio tour today. Long overdue. I think my last one was 2020 when we first moved into this house, and I have made a lot of changes since. If you've been following me on my vlogs, you will have seen all the DIY projects that I've been doing, and now I'm going to show you it all in depth. So I hope you're ready. This is going to be probably quite a long vlog. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I will be showing you in all my drawers, telling you about all the furniture, and just letting you see all the cool functional things I have in here and things that help me with my small business. So I hope you're ready. Let's get cracking and let's start with the corner of the room. Alright, so we're going to start with this side of the room. I'm going to do a quick overview and then we will go in a little bit closer and have a look in the drawers. This is actually the connection into my kitchen. There's no door there. We do have a baby gate that was left by the previous owners, but it's really handy for when we want to keep Freddie or Mabel just out of this room whilst I'm doing things, so we've left it there. It's quite handy to have. Maybe in the future we'll put some bifolding doors or something there, just so that guests don't see directly into this room. I'm always very conscious that this side that you'll see a bit later is always as tidy and neat as possible, so that if any guests come in they can see that it's, you know, looking nice in here and it's not full of things, although it is a working studio, so I guess that's inevitable as well. So this used to be made up of these 4 Alex drawers, as you can see. So these are from IKEA. Like I say, they're called Alex drawers. They're so handy. They have deep ones, they have shallow ones, they have these A3 paper storage ones. They all have a really good use, and I will show you how to organise them even better in size shortly. But they have always been a staple on this side of the room, and if you remember, if anyone watched my last studio vlog, I used to have a Kallax unit just above them, and it used to be resting on top of them, and all of these used to be bunched together. Now, that worked really well. It was something I saw on Pinterest. I really liked it. However, I didn't want to mount the Kallax on the wall because I knew it was taking a lot of heavy books. I didn't want to damage my walls. And also this is a converted garage, so all my walls are made out of brick. There's no, you know, there's no stud walls or anything like that. So everything's very difficult to mount. I do have to have brick studs, what do you call them, raw plugs, that's it, and I do have to make sure my drill is fully charged before I make any drilling into them. So I didn't want to mount that on the wall. I didn't want to destroy my walls. When we moved in here, the previous owners had they had like a daycare sort of thing, so this room was filled with Kallax units, filled with toys, all mounted on the walls, and I'd already done massive patchworks to all the walls and holes. And so I didn't really want to have to re-drill and then have to patch all that again up. I know that's a silly thing to say, but that's just how I felt. So I had this idea in my head. I've always had these IKEA Ivar units. By the way, this is not sponsored by IKEA, but if IKEA would ever want to do that, I'm more than happy to, because pretty much 100% of this furniture in this room is IKEA. But I've always had these Ivar units on the right here. I'll put up the names on screen so you know how to spell them if you want to have a look for yourselves. And I love them. They are incredible. So you can buy the posts here, so the vertical posts. You buy them in, I think there's 3 different lengths and there's 2 different depths, so you can get the 30 centimetre or the 50 centimetre depths. Really handy, so you can customise them, but you, like I say, you can buy them at different heights. So I had this mid-range height on the right here. I also had a smaller height on the furthest right, so it wasn't a full height shelving unit. And then you buy the shelves, so you can buy short shelves, you can buy long shelves. And basically they have metal dowels that you take out of the shelf, you put into any holes. There's holes going all the way up the vertical posts, and you can put them in at any level, and you can just slot your shelving in there. And if you want to change them, you pop your shelf back out, you take the dowels out, and you put them in a different side. So They're really handy, they're amazing to have, they're really great, and I just love them. So I had this idea in my head that I wanted to extend the unit on the right and bring it further left, which I have done. I was just shy of enough space to put another post here and have shelving above this to kind of negate that awkward space above these units. However, I was going to just encroach into the kitchen entrance and I didn't really want that to look like that. So I ended up not putting a post on this side, but I love the way it looks. I think it looks incredible. I took my LED lights off the back of the Kallax and I ran them along the back of this unit. However, in the process of that, I clearly damaged some sort of filament because, as you can see, these lights here don't want to change from blue when I change them to purple, which is a bit of a shame. So maybe in the future we will replace those. So that's an overview of this. This side is made up of the Alex drawers and the Ivar units. So I will take you a bit closer and we will run through all the shelving units as well. So on the top here, I store all my keyrings that I sell on this IKEA pegboard that has legs. Sorry about that noise, Mabel's playing with a toy just down there. It has legs and it stands on my stall, and I keep it in here so that it's all nice and safe and I can see how much stock I've got left. A little painting from I think it was an oil painting session I did on a video. I keep my camera here so it's always at hand if I see birds in the garden or something like that. And then running into the actual Alex drawers here. So this top one hasn't changed from the last few studio tours. We have stationery in here, tapes, bags for my camera equipment, staples, staplers, glue sticks, and compasses, so nothing too special. These inserts here, I can't actually remember the name of them, I'll try and pop it up on screen, but you buy them as a set. So you get this huge insert here, you get I think 2 of these smaller inserts and then 1 slightly longer insert, and they are perfect for these drawers, so I highly recommend you having a look at those. I bought an absolute ton of them when we first bought all of this, and I keep them in most of my drawers, and they're just really handy to keep things really nicely organised in there. So that's the top drawer. The second drawer is what I call my pencil drawer. We have, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure the camera's facing the right way. We have plenty in here. So again, these are the longer ones that I was mentioning. I have 2 of these. This is filled with more of the coloured pencils, predominantly stuff I get in scroller boxes where I have a small bunch of pencils and I just elastic band them up. I make sure everything's sharp before it goes back in here, and I regularly, when I do a big studio clean out, I actually get my pencil sharpener out, take all of this out, and I sharpen all my pencils to make sure they're always ready to go whenever I need them. But this has all the odds and sods from scroller boxes of pencils, coloured pencils, and then this back one is predominantly just loose pencils of all different thicknesses, textures, different types of pencils, mechanical, wooden, all sorts. A load of different pencils in there, anything you could ever need. I could probably sort that out because I don't need that many pencils. In the back here we also have a few sets of some watercolour pencils and sets of just drawing pencils and graphite blocks. This is filled with my refill mechanical pencil lead, some liquid pencil paint, and my mechanical rubber. And then in here is predominantly rubbers and sharpeners for anything I need. Anything I receive in a scroll box basically goes in these drawers. So the next drawer is my ink drawer. Let me face you down. There we go. So we have all of my ink pens. So again, these are all my loose ink pens that I received in scroller boxes. You'll hear that a lot. It's just the way it is. I receive a lot of art supplies and I keep all the ones that I do use periodically, and I love an ink pen, so that's all ink pens. And then in the back here we have a few sets of ink pens. We've got some Staedtler and some Etcher sets. I have packs of jelly rolls in the back there and Staedtler fine liners, and then these are all my inks here. We've got the FW acrylic artist ink by De La Roni, and then I have some Liquitex acrylic ink as well, and then we have some Winsor & Newton water-based inks here, which I just did a little swatch of the ink and popped it on top of the box so that I always know what the colours are. And then this is a pen that I've not used yet. You refill it and it acts as a marker, so I bought that and I haven't used it yet. But that is all my inks. I love this drawer. It's probably one of my favourite drawers. I just love being able to see all my ink colours, and yeah, it's just a really satisfying drawer for me. Then the next one down is my marker drawer. So this has all my different markers, water-based, permanent and acrylic. Actually not water-based, it's just got acrylic and permanent markers, so anything permanent goes in here. It's a real mix of stuff. So I have my Sharpies in the back here, we have miscellaneous acrylic markers in this one, again from scroller boxes, and then this one is reserved purely for Posca pens because I have a hell of a lot of them. Then the drawer below, just point you down a little bit more. The drawer below is all my water-based markers. So this has a huge selection of Arteza markers, like a real huge selection. I think Natalie got me a massive set of them because I was really into using my brush nibs. I think I'm going to take some of these away on holiday, but that will be a separate video. This actually was more full than this, but I've just recently cleared it out. I gave my mum a load of these for anything that she wants to do, because my mum does a lot of kind of art journaling and stuff, but a lot more abstract kind of paintings. So I gave her a load of my pens. So this is 100% clearer than it was before. These Pentel pens are new from a scroller box, so I've kept those in there, and then we have some Faber-Castells there as well, but these are all water-based. I like to keep everything separate so I know exactly what I am getting myself into when I need some pens. Then the next drawer down is a little bit more miscellaneous. I'm going to zoom you in there. This drawer here is my pencil and let's say crayon drawer. So we have a ton of pencils in here. There's a tin of Arteza coloured pencils there. This is a Faber-Castell roll. This has got all my Faber-Castell Polychromos in it. And this one here is a Derwent wrap, which has a mixture of pencils. It's got the Charisma colours and it also has Derwent pencils as well. Do I need this many pencils? Probably not, but I'm very attached. These are from my GCSE days when I was doing all my art there, and then Natalie's over the years bought me multiple pencils, and I do just love them to take them to coffee shops, and again I think I'm going to take some of those on holiday with me. Then we have some chalk sets. Again, I've done a big clear out, so I'm only left with these two now. These are some soft pastels by Faber-Castell. I think they're both the same, but I received one in a scroller box and I had one in here already. I don't know if it was from an older scroller box or something. Then we have my jelly plate, which I like to play around with, and some other crayons that I've received in multiple boxes and things like that. So it's a real mix in there of kind of more natural, like pencil-y type supplies, pastel pencils, that sort of thing. It did have more in it, but I'll show you the stuff that I took out of here. When I was organising the studio, I had some shelf space and I thought it would be nice to showcase more of my expensive supplies. Then this again is a drawer that I love. This is my watercolour drawer, and by Jove do I have a lot of watercolours, and I'm so attached to them. I'm sorry, this is a lot. There's a lot of things in here. Don't forget I've been subscribed. Hello Mabel. I've been subscribed to Scrawlrbox since 2016, so as you can imagine I have amalgamated a lot of supplies, and I do clear out. Like I say, I give, oh careful Mabes, I do give my mum stuff, I give my girlfriend's nieces things, and I still have a lot of supplies, but that is, what is that, 8 years of supplies. Don't you dare steal those little sponges, thank you very much. So these are a mixture of natural and synthetic sponges for watercolours. I have some jelly gouache here. This here, let's see if I can pull this out any further. This is full of pans. These are all different pans, but they are different paints. I've got Cotman, I've got Graffitin, I've got charcoal paints, I've got all sorts of paints in here, and then a few other brands in there as well. We've got some metallic paints here, some palettes on the side, all my Viviva colour sheets, my other sheets, I can't remember the name of the Peerless watercolours in there, which are just watercolours put on 2 sheets, so it's easy for travelling. I have all my tubes of Winsor & Newton, De La Roni, Van Gogh paints here. I then have some crystalline watercolour paints here. These I haven't used much, but I have loads of them and I'd like to do some videos on those in the future, so stay tuned for that. I've got some watercolour grounds here that again I haven't used yet, but I'm excited to use. We have masking fluid, some paper, my Go Draw palette with some gouache in there, and I do have my Etcher mini palette with all of these tubes in. However, it's just up there drying because I want to take that on holiday and I gave it a bit of a clean up. But that is my watercolour drawer. It's filled with everything I ever need. It's all organised really nice and neat and easy to find everything I want. So it's just probably one of my favourite, and I keep saying about every drawer, but it is. Then the drawer below is a bit miscellaneous. It's got really cheap paints for when Natalie's nieces come up. It's got a few big tubs of System 3 De La Roni acrylics, and then we have my alcohol inks in here. We've got a real mix of different brands in there, and some enamel paint as well. A bit of a random drawer, but it's just where I stick things that I don't really have a place elsewhere for. And then this bottom drawer is actually Natalie's drawer. I purchased her a little set for screen printing and painting, and it's got everything to do with that in there. It's got the screen printing inks and the frames and the emulsions and things like that, but that's her drawer. I do touch it when she lets me, but I kind of created this little art drawer for Natalie there. So up to the top of my shelves, we have some boxes that used to fit into the Kallax units. They are predominantly filled with seasonal items, so all my Easter, Christmas, Halloween stock that I don't want out all year round, but I can pull out during those seasons. And they also house a lot of bubble wrap. So when I receive parcels and things, I keep all my bubble wrap. So anything wrapped in bubble wrap is actually recycled. I never purchase any extra. I would like to go fully paper and eco-friendly, but over time I obviously have amalgamated a lot of bubble wrap, and it's taking me quite a long time to get through it. And obviously as I'm running my business, I'm receiving more and more all the time. And so it's just taken me a long time, but just rest assured, and I think I might make a little sticker for it, anything plastic I have either got old stock of that I'm trying to get rid of, or it's things that I have received and I'm trying to recycle, but eventually we will go paper for most things in the future. So that's what they hold up there. We have a few folders full of personal documents. I have folders full of business documents ready for taxes. I have a folder full of printed out price tags or tags for my market that we can print, we can cut out and put round as packaging, things like that. And then there are two, let me see if I can point them out here. There are two paper card folders from IKEA. I saw them when I was doing my revamp and they were lilac, which is all my branding, and I purchased them. They're actually currently empty. I have a few empty things in here, which is really nice to have. It's always been full in here and I've never had places to put things, but it's really nice to have a few empty boxes that I know that in the future, if I find things to put in them, I have them spare and I have the room to put them in there. So they're actually empty up there. They're definitely more for aesthetics at the moment, but I really like them. Then moving on to the shelves, let me see if I can bring you closer to them without making you motion sick. So up at the top here, we have a lot of art books. I have art of books on the left there. So we've got some Legend of Korra, we've got some Spirited Away books, Last of Us, we've got a lot of artist books, so we've got Haekler, FIFA, Loish, all the big ones. We've got the Realism Challenge by Mark Crilly, a lot of big ones there from other YouTubers and other artists on Instagram. I have a couple of books from when Natalie used to work at EA Games, so I've got the Art of Dead Space and the Mass Effect 3 book. And then on the right there are some colouring books and some making art books, making ink books, just general art books that I would use for reference or for just tutorials and things. So that's that top shelf there. The shelf below is a little bit more niche. We have some comic books on the left there. I love the style of comic books. I also love The Walking Dead, so I have quite a lot of those. And I also have all of my Scrawler Box zines there. A lot of them, well, not a lot of them, that sounds big-headed. I have a chunk of those I am featured in, so eventually I'd like to go through them, get rid of maybe all the old ones and keep all the ones I'm featured in. I have all the featured artwork on the right there, if ever I want to do an art wall. We have a Fallout figurine, we've got some Pokemon cards and other comic book cards there, and then behind there we've got some bullet journals that I've used, and then this is a lovely book that Natalie got me printed that says Lucy Locke's Brilliant Thoughts and Plans, which is now full, but I keep it pride of place there. And then this here is my mini palette that I'm letting dry. I did a tidy up of the room, but I wanted it to be a bit more accurate, that there's things out that I'm using, and that's one of the things. And then that is a little plant pot that I found in IKEA that was lilac that I would like to fill as well. And moving down again, these are from IKEA, some little boxes, and like I say, they are more for aesthetics. This left one, however, is filled with all my technology stuff, so wires for past printers, things that I've saved. I have gone through it, I've gotten rid of quite a lot of stuff, but there's quite a bit in there that I probably should still be able to get rid of, but it's filled with HDMI, Ethernet cables, things that I could maybe need in the future for connecting things up, so I've kept it there. And it's got a nice box to put in, but this box here is empty, which is nice. This up here is a plant pot thing for a future video, you'll see that coming soon. Over here, peeking behind, is my little Bob Ross, what would we say, it's a effigy for Bob Ross there, and then some Pantone things there as well. And then the shelf below that is two of my printers. So the left one is my old printer that I used to print everything on, and the printer on the right is my sublimation printer. I predominantly use this printer on the left, not for printing but for scanning these days, and yeah, my sublimation printer. And then we will move down to the drawers below. So on the left there, because of the way I've done this unit, we've got some really nice spaces, and I have tried not to fill them up, because the reason I've put a shelf above the drawers, because I could obviously use the drawers as a shelf like I used to, is purely because we have animals and they have a lot of hair and it accumulates around everything. We have to hoover pretty much every day just to make sure that there's not big dust devils everywhere because of their hair. And so I wanted to be able to pull these units out and not have anything on them that I could damage, so I can hoover behind them basically, and that's what we have done there. So I try not to fill these gaps, but there's spare frames in them, there's my portfolio and things just resting in there. Alright, so these drawers again haven't changed too much. Hello Mabel. So this top drawer actually has all my limited prints in it from my orangutan series. Quick little bit of self-promo here, but if you would like to purchase your own orangutan print, there's only 50 available. I've sold a fair few of them now. They're limited, I won't be getting them back again, but this is the replica of the very large inking I did, and 10% of all proceeds will be going to the Rainforest Trust UK's orangutan cause, so I will be raising money by the sales of these. They're all printed on the handmade paper that I did the original inking on. They are numbered and signed, and they also have a certificate of authenticity on the back there as well. So everything looks really nice. It looks exactly like the original. So if you want to grab one of those, they are on my website now. So that's what has this drawer in. Then the second drawer is a little bit empty. Again, I've done a quick clear out of all this stuff, so it's got some empty little containers in here ready for organisation. Then we have some of my prints in here, the dogs, the cats, the mushrooms, and my pumpkin print as well, just all ready for if I make any sales of those. The drawer below is filled with alcohol markers and inks. It's filled to the brim. I collected pro markers for a very long time, then I was gifted a bunch of Copic markers, and then I've got some miscellaneous markers just in between here. I don't use my alcohol markers as much anymore. I'd really like to get back into it again. Maybe I'll take some of these on holidays and have a little play, but I do really enjoy using them, so I've not gotten rid of them. I'd like to find uses for them, maybe play with them a little bit more, so that's what has all that in. The next drawer down is my drawer filled with oils, acrylics and gouache. So we have all my acrylic paints here. Mabel, stop please. So we have my more expensive acrylics on the left here with my Winsor & Newton Gallerias. And then we have some kind of cheaper System 3 acrylics and De La Roni acrylics on the right there. On the left here is all my Winsor & Newton and De La Roni oil paints as well. Then we have some really cheap Daleroni oil paints in there. I actually host some Bob Ross nights, and I use these ones just because they're a little bit cheaper. We have some Reeves gouache in there, as well as some really old designer gouache that I had when I was at school, which I think actually might have dried out. I might have to go through these drawers again. Then we have a mixture of other gouaches, and then my Winsor & Newton designer gouache there on the right. So that is filled with paints. Like I say, these handy little drawers are really good for housing all of this stuff. It's just really handy to have. Then the drawer below is filled with more acrylic paints. So these are some, what are they called? These are Liquitex Basic acrylics. I actually won these in a Christmas giveaway, a massive set of them. I painted on all the lids in one of my vlogs so that I could see all the colours. We then have a bunch of Arteza. This is actually too tall there, but this is actually all for acrylic pouring, this drawer. I use this to colour all my acrylic pouring paints, and likewise with the last drawer underneath, this is a ton of Pebeo Studio acrylics and Sennelier acrylics that I use for acrylic pouring to not use really expensive paints, and these go a long way. I actually have to put a lot of paint into my acrylic pouring medium just to make sure that it all stretches. So that's those sets of drawers. Let's move back up to the shelves on the right. So the top shelf up there, this has a load of kind of like pads of paper on the left here. We have a ton of A5 pads which I have written on. I did that in a vlog as well, so I can see what the type of paper is before I reach for it. They're all from scroll boxes, and on the right there is just some miscellaneous notebooks and sketch pads and my Etcher mini satchel there. The shelf below is a mix of sketchbooks. So on the left here is all my finished sketchbooks, written with the dates of how long it took me to finish them. This is a stack of more natural looking sketchbooks. I just like the way that looked. We have some moleskins there and some stuff for my Bortoletti dip pen, and a little wooden box that my brother and mum got me from a thrift store, and it's made of walnut, I believe, and it has a really old calligraphy pen in, which I really love. So that's that drawer. The drawer below, this is what I was saying when I was saying I have some of my more expensive or newer art supplies out. So this is why the drawers on the left were a little bit empty on one of them, is because I've moved a lot of them here. I've got some graphitin, I've got my Caran d'Ache Neocolors, I have some oil pastels, I have some Derwent graphite blocks, and then some more oil pastels in that top thing there. I have my Winsor & Newton pigment markers, which I recently mentioned are now discontinued, so I made a bid on a set of those on eBay just so I had a spare, because I love them so much and I can no longer get them. So that's what that shelf is. It's a bit more of a display shelf. Probably should have chosen a different shelf because this has this bar on it, which I don't really like the look of, but maybe I'll swap those around at some point. Then below that we have my Epson EcoTank printer. So this is what I print all my prints on. It's a brilliant printer. It's got a really good scanner, but I just find my Canon scanner works best for me. I do have in the back there on its side a laminator. I have some boxes on the right there that I've written on with spare stickers, tags, things like that. And on the left side here are all my blank sticker paper, sublimation paper, all sorts of papers and things that I use for printing on the left there. And then let's get into these drawers here. So this top drawer has all my blank paper. We've got all my A3 printer paper, some A4 CAD, some A4 printer paper and a cutter, and some thick CAD here. That's all for my packaging and printing needs. The second drawer down, this is a bit of a wild card for me. I don't open this drawer very often. This is all my card making supplies. So I've got some kind of fancy coloured papers and things like that. I've got stamps, I've got inks, I've got all sorts of scrapbooking stuff. I've kept it because I do use it every so often, and I'm also going to try and do a little bit more journaling, but just for me, not filming it or anything. I want to do a bit more journaling, and I think all of this will come in handy for all of that. So I'm going to keep it for now, but eventually maybe I'll get rid of it if I don't use it anymore. But that is all old card making stuff that I used to use when I was a little bit younger. The drawer below is again a bit of a weird one. It's a bit more crafty. It has ribbons, strings, it's got things for my acrylic pour, Christmas decorations, it's got spools of, what's it called? Cotton for my sewing machine, which is currently at my mum's, so I don't have it anymore. And then this had a load of things in for when I used to make felted fairies and things. So it's stuff that I don't make anymore, but again, I don't know if I have a use for it yet. So it's something that could potentially be cleared out, but for now it's remaining the same. And then, like I say, I used to make a lot of felted fairies and things like that, and I just don't make them anymore. I really would like to try and make some felted pet portraits, and I also make the odd felted earrings to go along with some of my series and my releases. So I have a lot of wool, so don't be surprised by this, but I have a lot of wool. This is mainly more natural wool, it's from New Zealand. This curly wool here is Teeswater, which is a type of sheep with very curly wool that is near my mum, and she dyes it for me, and that used to be the hair for the fairies. So this is all more natural, fluffier wool in there. Then we have the more merino style wool in here for making the dresses and things when I did the fairies. Some dowels and some pipe cleaners for making things. And then this bottom one is more of the testers and small bags that you get from big sets that I accumulated. So a lot of felting stuff in there, but I do intend to use it, and I used to use it a lot. So that's why there's so much wool in there, but I hope to be able to use all that at some point. Now to the right of all that is this more small unit here, the Alex unit, and this is what I was talking about by having a bit of a use for that weird space above the Alex unit. So this is the smaller shelf size for the Ivar, which I have used to showcase some of my nice Lego that I've been receiving. I really enjoy it all up there. And then behind there is a few small business things. We've got Crafted by Colette, we have Ouija Art Studios there, we have a bowl of crystals in the back there, and then we have my neon sign just in front of it, which I've mounted on that frame, which I really like there. I think it's a really nice, perfect place for it. And then we have the Ivar unit below. So again, let me run through what's in these shelves. So this top shelf is predominantly ink, a bit of spare Lego, because one of my Legos is one that you can switch between 3 things, but this is predominantly sublimation ink and ink for my Epson printer in the top there, and all my remotes for my neon lights. The drawer below, again, a bit miscellaneous. It's got some photography props in there, it's got tags for pricing, and then I've got some of my macrame stuff that I have put to one side to do for my mum. The drawer below has all of, sorry, I'm all over the place here. It has all of my cellophane. So when I first started my business, I couldn't really afford the eco cellophane. So I have a lot of normal cellophane. I use it quite often. There's quite a lot to go through, but whenever I need to replace the size, I have started buying the eco cellophane. So if you do receive it, do know that I cringe when I use it, but it's the only thing I have at the moment, and I don't want to buy more before I have used all this up. So that's all in there, and then I've got some spare little bags for mystery bags and things like that. The drawer below, again, another really miscellaneous drawer. It's got some candles, it's got wood burning, it's got soldering iron, wax, glue gun, really random, but stuff that I might use during day-to-day crafting. The drawer below, let me set you back up properly. The drawer below here is all my lino stuff. So we've got some sharpening tools for my lino cutters, we've got some stamping stuff, all lino related in that drawer. The drawer below has clay working stuff, so I don't have much clay at the moment, but I've got all the stuff for making it, the pasta machine, and then I've got a lot of these spare mushrooms that I use around Christmas to fill up globes and things to sell, so all clay related stuff in there, and some bead mats. the drawer below, you're going to find all these drawers very, very random. So this drawer has a lot of my discs for painting on, but it also has a lot of things like bark and pine needles and pine cones and poppy seed heads and things. But this is all stuff that I used for my felted fairies because I had them holding bouquets of naturally collected things like poppy seed heads like this. So it's really random. I've kept it all because I just don't know whether I'll actually use it again. It took me a long time to amalgamate all this stuff and collect it. The drawer below has a huge pile of felt. It has some wooden and some polystyrene balls and some more natural discs for painting on. And then the drawer below has some more felting supplies, some big batches of felt for when I was doing hair and face colours and things. So that's those drawers. Alright, so we're going to talk about this corner here. This has just all of my stock in it. I'm not going to go up close and show you it all, but we have quite a lot of things from IKEA again. These white boxes here are from IKEA. You can get them in pink and dark green, I believe, but they're perfect for just reaching in and grabbing things. I usually house all my washi tapes and pins in those. We have a lot of these crates as well. We have a mixture of 3 different hues of purple because I think Primark couldn't make up their mind as to what purple to offer, so I have quite a few different ones, but we have some large and some small. They're perfect for stickers and housing all my notebooks and things like that. We have a lot of these really useful boxes here at the bottom. They're perfect for carting all your stock to and from stores as well, but they're the perfect size for A5, but you can get them in actually loads of different sizes, so they're really perfect for that. These drawers at the bottom are Ivar drawers. They actually pull out, so you can pull things out. Let me show you. So they're on wheels and you can pull them in and out like this. They're perfect for storing stuff. I have a lot of spare gift bags and paints and things for acrylic pouring in the bottom there. This is another unit from IKEA. I house all my beads in there, and then the rest of it is all just stock there. Then we have my H frame, which usually sits in this corner, my easel, and it's got a few projects on it now. So let's spin you around and I'll take you to the other side of the room. Okay, so this side of the room is definitely the most messy side. I do a lot of my editing, my filming, everything over in this corner, and I also do my day job in this corner as well. So we have my 3 screens. I've got my work laptop, my personal laptop, and my screen that I hook up to both of those whenever I need it. And this is actually a standing desk. What's the company called now? I can't remember. I'll pop it on the screen, but that's a standing desk, so I can sit and stand whenever I need to, which is perfect. Everything moves with it. And then above it, I have some IKEA pegboards. I've got quite a lot of the IKEA pegboards now. I do find them really handy to have, and I've had to arrange it so that when I lift my desk, there's not things protruding at the bottom here. But we have, this side is predominantly all my painting things. We've got some, let me take you in close actually. We've got some paintbrushes on the left there, some palettes and some swatch cards on the left, and on the right is predominantly all my washi tape, my stationery things and anything like that. And then just in front of these studio lights there, I'll shift you over, we have another pegboard here which has all my packaging things for when I'm packing orders, and this has some Cricut rolls in the back there and my order list of how many people have ordered that month. So let me show you a little overview of this side of the room. So as you can see, I have some more Ivar units, but these are the 50 centimetre depth, so they're a lot deeper, they're a lot more spacious, but actually the deeper ones are much more hard to fill. So this side of the room actually has a lot of packaging things and things for doing sublimation and Cricut cutting and things like that. So this is the more functional side of the studio, so it doesn't look the neatest, it is a bit more messy, but it's just way more functional. So I'll just do an overview of some of the things you can see here. This is a door to our laundry room / Freddie's litter, and then this here is the downstairs toilet, which I utilise quite a lot, obviously, because I work from home and I do my business stuff in here, so I need the toilet all the time. So that's the perfect toilet, and it's perfect for filling up or washing up paintbrushes and things like that. Very functional. There are a couple of drawers in there that I do use occasionally, but not too much. It's mainly pet food and things in there, so all my stuff is predominantly in this room. We have here a blackboard just up on the wall there, which I write all my ideas or future launches and things that I need to do for that. I have a hook on the wall that Natalie's chair goes on for when she does come in here and work with me, so that hangs up on the wall nice and neat. We then have this. So this is an IKEA Mittback. This is actually a manual standing desk. As you can see, it's got some kind of lifting things here. So you lift it and you put dowels in there and you can lift it higher and higher until it's a standing desk. I often have it in the standing configuration just for when I'm packaging orders or doing sublimation so that I don't hurt my back and I'm not leaning over the desk, but it's perfect for putting down at a desk. So Natalie has her own desk in here when she's doing some design work for me or doing any sort of work for the business. She can sit there and we both have a desk to work at. I did make this up and I did do some modifications to it. So let me go and show you. Underneath each side, I've actually put some IKEA bars. So on the other side, I actually hang all my tissue paper off there, which is perfect. And then this one used to have wrapping paper on it, but I've made the wrapping paper displays for that. It's got a lot of boxes in it at the moment, but these are all boxes I've received products in or things in, and I want to use for orders, so I've kept them, so I'm reusing those. But the one modification I made to this that was really good is that it's on wheels. So I can now wheel this anywhere in this room. I can wheel it forward and backwards. I can twist this and it's actually the perfect length to fit in between. So if we are packaging orders or we're doing a big stock update or things like that, I can put it this way. One of us can stand that side, one of us can stand this side, and it's perfect for just doing things together, making the use out of this whole space. And it is the best thing I think I've ever done in this room. It's perfect and it's got a real functional use for it, and it's just brilliant. It's just really, really good. I've got some projects on here at the moment for future videos. And I've got my gimbal on there as well. But let's move this out of the way so you can see this shelving unit a little bit more. So let's talk about the walls first. So up on the walls here, this is my wrapping paper display. I made this in a video. I made it from scratch. It's got a lot of the IKEA poles on there, but it's how I store all my gift wrap when it's not packaged up, ready for markets or ready for sale online. And it's just the perfect way of storing all my gift wrap. It keeps it all nice and flat. The dog's not rushing past it when she comes into the room and not crumpling it up. It just is a really functional thing for me. We have my Mum Bin printer here. We have some Mum Bin weighing scales for orders. This is a boom arm that I move around this here so it can go over this desk when it's pushed that way, so I can do my filming and things. Again, another rolly cart here, but this is purely filled with canvases, spare wood for wood burning, other gimbals and things, and it's the perfect thing for storing all my spare working space and working canvases that I can just roll out and grab when I need. We have a tripod hung up there. Let me move you a little bit closer to the other side of the room. We have my Cricut machine that sits there. We have my heat press and my mug heat press there. We have a little bed for Freddie so that he can have a little safe space in here when Mabel's causing havoc. And then we have a little bit of artwork on the wall. So this is a blown up print of my Huevember. And then we have some shelving over there and my customed ukulele. And this has a bunch of my artwork and other people's artwork just on the shelf there. It hasn't changed for a long time. I could probably do with putting some fresh new artwork in there, but for the moment it does its job. Then in these shelves, I won't go into depth because they are messy, but we have some spare frames here, some spare canvases. This is filled with my beads for beading, some drying racks for when I'm doing acrylic pouring, some blanks for sublimation. Same with that one, that's all filled with blanks for sublimation. The bottom right here is filled with packaging, so that's all my envelopes and boxes and flat pack boxes. And this one on the left is filled with a bunch of blank canvases and some card and some things for my stalls as well. So not the most aesthetic looking shelves. This is what I was talking about, that you can see those shelves from the kitchen and I just don't like the way they look. So I think eventually I'd like to make some little doors for these shelves, but IKEA do sell doors for the Ivar, which are perfect. They look really nice. However, I actually custom made these shelves. So this height that you see here is not the height you can buy. I couldn't find the height that I wanted to fit underneath this shelf, so I made this again in an old vlog. and I custom made it, so nothing really fits them, so I'm going to have to bespoke make some doors for these, but I'd really like to do that just to make these look just a little bit better. And then finally, if I bring you over here, just in this corner, this is the art wall here, as you can see. So it's got a lot of my own stuff. It's got a lot of lowish stuff. I got a lot of free prints when I did some Kickstarters for their art books. And then down here is some more easels, a little wooden panel that I want to do some painting on. I've got some Cricut mats just here, and then I've got my trolley, which is from Hobbycraft, I think, that has all my acrylic pouring stuff in it. So it's got some pre-mixed paint there for when I want to do a quick pour. It's got some toilet roll tubes there for resting all my coasters on and things, and then it's got a lot of cups and things and silicone mats for when I'm doing some pouring. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this studio tour, seeing all the functional things in this room. It's taken me many, many years to get all of this to where I want it, to make sure everything has its place. I have built up a lot of art supplies. I'm very, very aware there's a lot going on in this room, and there's probably people thinking that this is a lot of things to have for a part-time business. But like I say, I've been a Scrollbox subscription holder for over 8 years now, and I've built up a lot of art supplies. I use art supplies all the time. I don't think there's a day that goes by without me creating something arty. And then I have accumulated a lot of business things as I've started running my business and making sales, and then it's just boomed from there. And as they say, the bigger space you have, the more you fill it, and I've definitely done that when we moved into this house, and I'm really pleased with the progress and the look of everything in here. Again, like I say, there's a few modifications, but I don't envisage this room changing for a very long time now. So if there's anything specific you want me to run through, some of my DIY projects, like how I've made this a bit more, how I've done the modifications to the Ivar units, whether anyone wants some help, maybe advice on designing things, how I store my products maybe. There's a lot of other videos I could do, so just drop me a line in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed seeing everything, and I hope you might stick around if you're new here, because there's a lot more coming for Lucy Locks, and I'm excited to showcase a hell of a lot more things. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.